consistency over time. Podcast is a slow burning thing.
I have been on a pod before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like health and wellness sort of pod, and yeah, it was good fun. But yeah, this is like next level on the instruments you have here, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is really cool.
I appreciate that. I mean, it's like it's a one-man band, but it's like modern technology today kind of like makes that available. You know what I mean? Like 20 years ago, I wouldn't be able to like edit this and get it out, but now it's like Adobe Premiere Pro, and I can just learn that with a YouTube tutorial, and then all of a sudden I've got a podcast.
Mate, that's yeah, do it yourself. Hey, you just sort of start from
Solopreneur.
You start from somewhere, hey, and then you just like figure it out.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think the thing is consistency. It's like just trying to get one episode out a week, and it's like there's been weeks where I haven't, and then like there's been weeks where I have, and then I think maybe 4 weeks out of the last 2 years I've missed. But just that pure consistency of just getting like an episode out every week like makes me need to go get a good guest, have a good conversation, edit it, get it out, and just over time it just accumulates, and it's like 1% better almost like every episode. Like if you look at the first episode, like the cameras are all set up wrong, the audio sucks, I'm wearing shorts and it's like a man spreading, you can see down like my pants and the other people on the podcast pants, and like compared to like then 20 episodes later and then another 20 episodes later, and now we're another 20 episodes later around the 80 mark, and like we've gone through like 3 different recording locations. I used to have a co-host who's now like got other stuff in life going on, so he stepped away. And yeah, it's just like, it's interesting. When I first started, there's no way I'd see myself being here right now. It's just that sort of concept. It's like, it really is like the beauty of life is you just have no idea what the future's going to be.
Oh man, yeah, I love that. And I don't know how we got into this consistency point, but I do love starting there, because I'm sure, as you've just explained, like the consistency is key, and it's something, you tell people and whatnot, but it's like, it's really, really true. Just like doing the thing time and time again, you get like exponentially better over time, So that's really cool, man. You should be very proud of, staying with it. And
I'm way too structured as a person as a result of it though, because it's just like, to me, if I'm not consistent and I don't structure stuff in, then it's not going to happen. And it's like, all right, well then I'm going to structure it all in, but then it's like, how much do I structure in? At what times do I prioritize what? And then I just classic overthink. And then I get to a point where I'm trying to do way too much. And it's just like, but if I don't, then I'm just not going to be consistent with it, and then I won't make any progress with it. And it's just like the double-edged sword of like being structured, overthinking, and being productive versus like shooting yourself in the foot because you're just doing way too much.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've had that experience or not.
Being too structured? Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. I'm not even sure I'd call it overthinking. I remember seeing somewhere where like someone described it as like just focusing on the things that aren't in your control.
Sphere of influence.
Yeah, that sort of thing, right? Instead of just maybe not overthinking, it's just you're like focusing on those things rather than what is in your control. Potentially.
How do you get out of that? Because like you can't, I know it's not like overthinking, but you can't outthink an overthinking problem, because that's just adding fuel to the fire, because it's like just a circular loop then, and then you just, I don't know, I feel like the way to get out of overthinking is to almost take a step back and deprioritize like majority of what you've got going on and just like focus in on one thing. It's like the concept of like essentialism by Greg McKeown. It's one of my favorite books I've read, and it's just like, you could spread yourself so thin in all these different directions, or you could just channel it all into one and be exponentially better at that one, as opposed to spreading yourself so thin that you're horrible at like 10 different things.
Yeah. Like depth over breadth.
So you're a holistic health coach?
Yeah.
What is that for context for the audience and people listening?
I think it's just an approach where you take on, probably 4 different areas. It's physical, mental, emotional and spiritual. It's like taking on those broader aspects rather than just the physical side of things. It's that holistic approach where you just take on multiple, like the whole dimensions of being a human, which is, definitely, it's just a needed approach, it's, and I think, it comes from sort of my own challenges of, a lot of mental challenges, and then, like enjoying the physical stuff, but understanding that the emotional and spiritual are very, very important as well, in my eyes.
Yeah, I feel like there is a bit of a stigma and disconnect there between kind of like, there's physical health. You can go to the gym, put in the reps and build the muscles, but like you also got to do that for your brain and like your well-being, like on an emotional like side. Like something I've recently started doing, and it took me forever to do it because of all the stigmas around it, is journaling. Like I used to like hate it, never look at it and stuff, and like be like, oh, that's not for me. And then so many people would tell me to do it and tell me that like it's life-changing for them, and it's like, I don't see it. I don't see where I'm going to have the time for it. But it's like, if it's good enough, you're going to make the time for it. And then I've been doing it for a couple months now, and it's like, it's very structured as well, like the way I do it, but it's just like, so I can get it done. And it's just building a relationship with yourself. And like in today's world, it's like just a pure attention economy, and you never get a moment to think to yourself. And then all of a sudden you do. And like, to me, that's been a big game changer. Journal yourself?
I do. Certainly not as much as what I would like to. But yeah, what's your journaling practice? What's your
the process?
Yeah, what's your process?
I'm in a 4-3-2-1 process. So I try to be done within a couple minutes. So I'll do 4 thoughts I've had for the day, all one sentence, then 3 things I'm grateful for, 2 things in my life today that were different to any other day, and then 1 manifestation statement, and then I'm done.
Cool.
And then it's so short that it's not overwhelming. So then the next day when I try and do it, it's not like, oh, well, I've written this much the day before, I've got to like come up with that much again. I can just like keep it nice, short and quick, but still get it in. But like that's my structuredness coming into like that. I don't know if that's the right blend or not.
Yeah, I appreciate, mate. I appreciate the structuredness and your approach to it, because yeah, you're right. If you don't schedule it, things don't get done. No, I like the simplicity of that approach. 4-3-2-1. That's really good. Because yeah, I mean, I've dabbled in a few different methods of journaling and things, and I think I come down to like a 10-minute pee, and I don't even know what that means, but like a 10-minute pen is probably what it means, right? Nice. It's just like 10 minutes. Set a timer, write whatever's on your mind, and also do like a gratitude journal and all that sort of thing, which is just a staple. And I guess the 10-minute P is on top of that. But yeah, it's just getting thoughts out on paper. And mate, the crazy thing is on like how messy the mind is, right? When you do start putting things on paper and you're like, oh wow, that's like that and that not connected at all. And it's like the mind's jumping around, or it might be more quiet and you're like, oh, I don't have much to write down today or whatever. But yeah, so you found it valuable?
Yeah. It's just like, as I said, it's just building a relationship with myself. Because I'll try and like in the morning, like, and I talk about it on every podcast episode. I have 2 phones, one for my social media, one for my personal stuff. And then social media one goes in the cupboard if I'm not posting for the podcast. I hate Instagram. I always doom scroll. It's the worst. That's like my spiel I give in every episode, but it's like,
yeah, agreed.
But it's a double-edged sword because I need to use social media to promote the podcast to be able to get it to be good in the first place. But then it's like every time I go to post an episode or a clip, then I spend like half an hour just on reels because it's just so addictive and so wide for your attention. So it's a love-hate relationship there for me.
Oh, mate, we can definitely discuss it for the next half an hour if you like.
But yeah, so like in the mornings, I won't go on my phone. Like I'll try and normally I'd get up and run, and then so wake up, go out for a run first thing in the morning, get outside, and then get ready for work, go to work, have my day at work, come home and do everything. But I found like I haven't been getting enough time to myself for my own businesses and whatever I'm trying to build. So now in the morning, I'll wake up first thing, 45 minutes to an hour, no phone, nothing. I'm just at my desk with my own thoughts, getting like all my productive stuff that I need to get done first in that 45 minutes of like uninterrupted like energy. And then I'll go for my like run, even if it's only a 3K run, just get it done so it stacks on the day and then go to work. And then I find in the past, if I did it the other way and tried to get that bit of 45 minutes productivity after a long day at work, I'm not consistent with it. But when I do it first thing in the morning, I'm just so much more consistent with it. And it's like, be structured so that you can stay consistent. Because if I didn't have that structure, I wouldn't. But at the same time, it's like, am I overdoing it? Am I structuring too much? I'm always chasing this like concept of an ideal morning. And it's shooting myself in the foot because it's thinking about what's the ideal morning I want in my my pristine life that I want when I'm older, not right now. And it's like, I'd want like a 3-hour morning where I get an hour to wake up and work on my business, then an hour to go for a run, then an hour for an ice bath and sauna, and then 3 hours done to start every single day. And it's like, I can't even do that right now because I can't even sauna for an hour and have the time then to go to work and do all that. So why am I even bothering overthinking that whole process for that structured morning for me in 10 years time per se, when right now I should purely just be focusing on the present, which I think is a superpower that like harnessing the present is a superpower that a lot of people don't get anymore. So I don't know where this spie's going on to, but it's like social media sucks, need more time to my own thoughts. Mornings is good. Overthinking.
There's a few different threads. Which one do we go down? Oh, I mean, morning routines definitely is something that I've,
battled with?
just dabbled in everything, you know. I remember during COVID, I had like a 3 or 4 hour morning routine and it was everything, you know. It was like meditation and breath work and journaling and reading and everything, just like everything you can think of was just like in that. And I think that started probably during COVID when, you know, you had a lot more time than what you usually would. And I had like this 3 or 4 hour. I remember I was getting up at like 4:30 in the morning. I was like, and looking back, I'm like, why was I doing that? You know, whatever motivation I had there was really cool. But 3 or 4 hours like that, it was just like, there's a lot. So there's a lot you can do. And you're right. It's just like, I really like your philosophy of like first things first. What is your most important thing you want to do? Do that first. And I think that's an awesome reminder for me and everyone else to do that first thing, you know, and prioritize, which is something that, I guess I struggle with as well.
Well, what did you find worked in the end for your morning routines?
Just doing just simplifying it, doing the same thing. Like at the moment, it's probably like three parts, and it'll be meditation, journal, and then reading. So just 3 things. If I do it sort of 10 minutes each, or 10 to 20 minutes each, depending on the day, amazing. And it's just trying to, and even like I'm trying to learn to be more flexible with it. With like, you know, on certain days, you know, I might be at the gym at 5:15 and it's like, okay, I'm not going to necessarily get half an hour before then. So it's like, okay, maybe meditation goes late in the day and journaling goes late in the day, or whatever. But it's being flexible. They're like daily rituals, which I really like the word rituals rather than routine, just because I feel like it just resonates more with me.
When you work with people and like do coaching for them, what's the number one thing you find you're constantly having to sort of like get them to do that they're not? What are most people missing? This like an obvious kind of just tick, you should be doing that and it'll help so much.
It's 2 things, but one is just taking some time to slow down. I think is just like slow down, whatever that looks like. And I'm a biggest culprit of this as well, is that, you know, our brains run 100 miles an hour, so we want to keep up. But it's slowing down, whether that's meditation, breath work, a walk with your dog, like just slowing down a bit. And then the other things, obviously, like consistency with whatever you do, just like showing up time and time again, you know, and the clients, the people who get the best results that I've seen, just, show up. They're committed to just showing up, no matter how they feel. So
breathwork, meditation, differences? What's the difference for the casual, the novice such as myself?
Well, I think meditation's quite, like you can walk and be meditating. You can walk or you can meditate without focusing on your breath, sort of thing. But breathwork's, using the breath to, you know, I guess manipulates your physiology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to me
I'd
about
say
that.
That's a difference. The breathwork.
Yeah. Because breathwork and meditation are probably 2 things, and I'd say I'm pretty on top of my health, but probably 2 things that aren't in my life that a lot of the people that know a lot about health talk about doing.
Yeah. Well, mate, meditation changed my life for sure. Big impact. I remember I was 19 and just remember going, wow, my brain is like crazy, you know, just like haywire. And I was like, okay, well, I need to do something for this. And then started meditating. I think a mentor at the time was like, oh, have you ever tried meditating? I'm like, might as well give it a crack. And I remember 5 minutes was like super long at that stage. But then you just do, you know, show up time and time again, day after day, and just observe the mind. So meditation, I think, sort of what I've been taught, is all about just observing the mind and trying to like separate and be the watcher of your thoughts, of not even your thoughts, the thoughts you have. So that, I think that's probably the crux of meditation, is to be able to sit there and just observe thoughts come and go without grabbing onto them. But you do grab onto them, and then you come back to whatever your singular idea of focus is in that moment. So like, I mean, I always come back to, the breath is a really good tool to come back to in meditation, because you just, you go off on a story and then you're like, oh, okay, that story, back to the breath. And then you're present again. And then you go off on another story or another thoughts, whatever, then you come back to your breath. And it's just about, recentering your focus on that singular point, and you can look at a candle flame is another famous one, where you can stare at a candle flame and that's your line of focus, or anything can be your focus with meditation. Where I think in sort of separating, because meditation and breathwork are probably synonymous, where you absolutely whenever I meditate, I usually do come back to the breath. The breathe and be meditation is what you would call it. And that's the most simple and effective meditation I've ever sort of come across. But then, breathwork. I mean, have you done some breathwork?
What's the 4x4 one where it's like
box breathing?
Yeah. I've done that, but like not properly, So no is the answer to your question.
Yeah. I mean, breathwork's just about, gosh, there's a few different ways you can go about it, but just working with your physiology to be like, you can do like hyperventilating breathing, and that would be like Wim Hof. And Wim Hof is fantastic for like, what do I call it? Nervous regulation. Well, I mean, that's what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to regulate your nervous system through breath work, whether that's up-regulating or deregulating. Is that down?
Yeah.
Probably. You probably, that's what you're trying to do with breath work, I'd say. Whether that's like Wim Hof or like, there's also like different practitioners around here where it's like.
I remember seeing something so fascinating, and it's like this course that this guy did with all these business things. I heard it on a podcast, of all places. And so this guy was doing training with all these like CEOs and business people in his course. And they do this thing where it's like, how long can you hold your breath for? And then he'd get all of them at the start of the program to hold their breath for as long as they could. And it'd be however long. And then at the end of the 4-week course, he'd get them to do it again after doing all these practicing steps to improve how long you could hold your breath for and stuff. But the increase that everyone had from the start to the end of the 4 weeks was much greater than any physiological change from training, adaptation, whatever it is that you could have got in that period. And it turned out, and it like opens the eyes to all of them, and it's just mental. As in like you could hold your breath for that much longer than you think you can if you can unlock like mental barriers in your mind. And like I just remember hearing that and thinking that's so fascinating, the fact that like physically your body will stop you, but it's actually you could go so much further. And it just takes mental training, not the physical training, to actually unlock that.
It is mind-boggling when you start it. Like I've done a bit of Wim Hof, and if like I held my breath now, it's probably like 30 to 60 seconds or something. But on Wim Hof, after you've done the hyperventilating breathing for like, I think it's like 10 to 20 minutes or something, you then, I've held for like 3 to 4 minutes, which is just like.
The world record was just broken by some guy.
Wow.
For holding your breath underwater, and it was 29 minutes.
Holy shit.
I was like off the beach in Croatia or something, and it was just like, and he did like the oxygenate, like highly concentrated oxygen, like inhaling that for like 20 minutes before he went under and stuff. But it's like 29 minutes.
Mate, the human body is just phenomenal, isn't it? But it's a really interesting state actually, where he obviously like was able to oxygenate his body. And you feel that during like Wim Hof, where you're like, I'm not breathing, but I still feel really calm, because obviously your body has access to that oxygen. So that is a fascinating part of breath work. I mean, there's like Wim Hof, there's like There's different other wonderful Perth practitioners that I've dabbled with. And there's like 9 DMT and stuff like that. So it's like when you do hyperventilating breath work for like 45 an hour and stuff, it releases natural DMT in your body, which is fascinating to experience.
Because DMT is the one that everyone gets when they're born and when they die. And then like that's it unless you do it through like experiences like that or drugs, pretty much. Yeah, that's crazy. In terms of, so you're 19, your mind's like going everywhere and then you start doing this. How gradually and what are the benefits you notice over time from doing it?
As you talked about before, it's all these things we do. It is really about building that relationship with yourself, to understand yourself more and how your brain works. And I think for me, it was just, being able to understand, that okay, there's a lot of thoughts and things happening internally and how that affects externally. Like, okay, these thoughts are causing this emotion, and for me, it's like, underlying anxiety has been a big thing that I've had to work through and continue to work through. So I think it's all about that, just understanding, the thoughts you're having that are tied with your emotions, and then obviously being able to like observe that through meditation and not react. So you're able to respond mindfully.
Yeah, okay.
And I think as that like separation or that little space between stimulus and response. We have some stimulus, guy calls you dickhead, and you have this like response of anger, and you're able to like, or reaction of like anger, or feeling of anger, and you're able to then separate yourself and go, okay, I don't need to react to that. I can then just respond mindfully. And I think that's been the biggest learning of meditation, is just be able to, separate your emotions and actions.
Yeah, okay. I'm reading this book at the moment called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
And one of the concepts in the book that I've just read through is the gap. And it's like, and he has the little like photo of the two hands, and it's like the gap is, the top of the gap is who you are on the outside, and the bottom is who you are like on the inside, and who you like really are, or your underlying fears, anxieties, like who you are as a person, how you really feel, and the top is like what everyone else gets. And it's like the practice through meditation, and I haven't finished the book yet, but he'll give all the meditation in part 3 of the book, he said, to go through how to do that, is closing that gap so that who you are on the outside and who you are underneath like becomes the same. And everyone's got this gap in their lives. Some people have massive gaps, some are smaller, some are closed. But like, and for him, he said, who's the author of the book, the hardest thing for him is consistently trying to keep that gap closed, or even closing that gap still. And it's like, that's what will happen is people will distract themselves, whether they might have a midlife crisis, then go buy that sports car or whatever. Those people are the ones that are on the top and their gap's massive and they're not willing to look at the bottom and try and close it. And then they'll distract and that gap gets bigger and bigger. And then that unhappiness builds, and true happiness stems from when you're outside of what everyone sees and who you are underneath is the same. And then you're truly content and happy with who you are as a person by closing the gap. It's just a fascinating concept, and it's just like stuck with me. I read it like probably like Wednesday night.
I like that. I don't think I've read that. Breaking the Habit.
I
read one of his other ones. Yeah.
It's like, I think it's the second one he's written. So he wrote the first one, and this is like the practical guide to the second one almost. And it's like authors always break down, especially in business books. Like the first 30 pages is normally like the entire concept, and then the rest goes into it. And some of them it's useful, and some of them it's just regurgitating it in different ways. But for him, he's structured in a way where it's like 3 parts. One's the base understanding from like quantum physics and what matter and what exists in what realms and all that. And then the second one's understanding like your mind and the neural connections and pathways and how that all ties into meditation and who you can be and how to break habits and stuff. And then the third part is the practical meditation and what to actually do. So I'm halfway through the second part at the moment. That's where I've just gone through the gap thing. And I've just found like the first part I had no fucking idea what he was talking about with like quantum matter and like we are all 99% nothing and like 1% one atom, like all combined together, and every possibility in every like universe reality is all happening simultaneously and can and can't happen. Who knows?
Some of what Joe talks about is like, oh, that's over my head. You're like, what the hell are you going on about?
But then the second part, he starts tying it to the neurological science behind the brain and all of that. And now I'm starting to follow it a bit more, and then concepts like the gap. And then the third part's going to be the meditation to how to achieve that. And it's like your feelings and thoughts is a massive concept in the book. Is your feelings and thoughts are not the same, but they feed into each other. And in order to, like, he calls it being, your feelings and thoughts have to be in sync. And only when how you feel and what you think are in sync is when you can create change. Otherwise, it's not like, it won't be permanent, it won't last. It's like so many.
That checks out. Yeah, that checks out. Yeah.
Like for me, who's got no experience with any of this, and I'm like reading it for the first time, I'm just like, oh, right. Yeah. It's just interesting. I find that stuff fascinating. And then I don't meditate, but I reckon after I read the third part of the book where it tells you how to meditate and what to do, I'm going to give it a crack. Because it's like journaling. I had never did it and I've done it and now I've seen the benefits. Even though meditation's got the stigmas around it, like I reckon I'm going to give it a crack once I finish this book.
Oh, mate. Yeah. Please do. Let me know how you go. Because, yeah, it changed my life, and like just having a greater understanding of myself and your emotional regulation, which is huge, man. Like, yeah. It's huge to understand. Yeah. What you're feeling, why you're feeling it, and then be able to like not just react to it, you know, which, you know, I'm sure we've all experienced people like that, where it's like it's challenging to be around people who just like react.
Yeah, you be proactive, not reactive, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the mental and spiritual side, well-being side of things, but then there's also the physical. And like I'm obsessed with this, is like sleep, diet and exercise, proactive health, like starting business around it, whatever. But like people, and it's such a no-brainer, but like sleep, diet and exercise, if you can get on top of that, it's more effective than anything else, any medicine, any of that. If you can combine good sleep every single night with good habits of sleep, so you're like hitting all your REM sleep, deep sleep, whatever, you're eating nutritious whole food, dense food, and then you're exercising once a day. Doing those three things will change anybody's life, not only physically, but mentally. And probably the most important one of that is sleep, which is like, because of how neglected it's becoming in society today, with people being like, oh, I can survive for 6 hours or whatever. No, you need 8 to 9 realistically. But anyways, side note, those things, like, it's just life changing. Like literally, and I've been focusing and honing in on them for the last 2 years, and like, it's just like I'm a different person in like all the best ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree, mate. I think, yeah, what'd you talk about? Yeah, exercise, sleep, diet.
And then the other one's probably stress, is like the other factor.
Stress management.
Yeah.
Oh, mate. Yeah, and it's all, and that links into all of them.
Yeah.
And it's really, yeah, gosh, you're getting into the meat now. Yeah, you're spot on, man. Like you can, you know, physically and diet, but if your sleep's messed up, then it's like
throws it all out.
It throws it all out. And I think, yeah, they all conjoin, and they're all like,
I call them the three pillars of health, and you need all three to hold up the structure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And mate, my sleep's really challenging at the moment, where like, and I don't know if you've experienced this, I'm sure a lot of people have, where like I'm waking up between 3 to 4, like every day. And that's really really challenging when you sort of like try to not have anxious feelings around sleeping, but you just have this thing where you just keep getting up at a certain time, you know?
I know exactly what you mean, but it's because of, I'm actually chronically sleep deprived at the moment, like diagnosed by ENT. And next Wednesday, I'm getting a nasal reconstruction of my septum, because the top of my septum's fully crooked, and then the bottom, all the cartilage is on the wrong side. So instead of like a typical half an hour surgery panel beater to straighten out the septum, they've got to like remove the cartilage, straighten out, chuck it back in. So I got like a 2-hour overnight surgery next Wednesday, like coming 27th of August.
Put in your calendars.
Yeah, well, this will be out
Holy shit, man.
afterwards. But yeah, because I'm like waking up in the night, not breathing through my nose, because I can't breathe properly when I'm lying down, because and then I end up mouth breathing, but then it's like I've got the nose and the mouth tape on to make myself breathe out of my nose, but then my nose doesn't work properly. And it's this vicious loop. And it's like I'm waking up at 3 a.m. not breathing. And it's like I'm so excited. I'm not excited for the surgery and the recovery, because apparently it sucks, but I'm so excited to be able to get a good night's sleep and breathe through my nose again. Because it's like, as you're saying, like I've got my diet like 90% clean on lock, and then I'm exercising every day. but my sleep's not great. So I'm still like, I'm getting chronic fatigue over time from the deprivation. So it's like, you still need all three. You can't just pick and choose. You got to prioritize all of it together to get like the juice.
Absolutely, man. I think the thought that comes up actually is like, it's a saying where, you know, you might have 100 problems, but if you aren't healthy, you have one.
Yeah.
You know, and that puts it in perspective because like, and I'm sure everyone listening, that's so true, isn't it? If you're unhealthy, if you're sick, you're like, fuck, that's my first priority, right? If you push through it, your body's so intelligent, it then goes, no, you need to rest, and it'll make you more sick until you do rest. So it is a fascinating, the body's just so intelligent. But yeah, man, and it's like, and touching on, I think that stress is a really interesting topic we can talk about as well, because, you know, like whatever stress that is, like stress management is huge, man. And like, I've definitely experienced it and I'm experiencing now where stress is affecting sleep. And that's what happens, right? If you're waking up, you know, I was talking to a woman the other day as well who was waking up between 2 to 3 a.m. And for me, it's just 3 to 4. So anyway, in that sort of period, if you're consistently waking up at a similar time around there, it's potentially due to like your cortisol levels have like shoot or spike during that time. And then if you're waking up and you feel alert and awake, like that's potentially what's happening. So I'm still not sure what the remedy is to this, but maybe we
What's the latest in the evening you have caffeine? When do you have your last caffeine?
After 12 or 1, I won't have caffeine. So that's...
Huberman reckons 10 to 12 hours. You've got to stop before you fall asleep to not like lose it. It doesn't affect falling asleep, but it affects quality. That's what Huberman says. And I trust Huberman.
Yeah, it's not a bad one.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And it's just like things like food, like I'm not counting calories, I'm counting ingredients. And it's like that for me, it's like, because I'll go on about this and then like people at work or stuff will be like, oh, is this healthy food? And they'll ask me, I'll be like, well, like just look at how many ingredients there are. Like if there's like 20 ingredients on something, but it's like fat-free, 0 calories versus like an avocado. Yeah, an avocado's got more calories than fat, but it's healthy fats, it's healthy HDL. It's going to like raise your good cholesterol and lower your LDL, bad cholesterol, and like all of that. And it's just like, why do you care about the calories? Care about the ingredients, care about the nutrient density of food, because that's the stuff that's actually going to make you feel good. And then you're going to be able to break it down and process it better. And then your body's going to be better off for it anyways, physically. And it's just like, it drives me insane when people are like, oh, this is like 30 calories so I can eat it. And it's like, yeah, but it's got 30 ingredients on the back of it and it's all just like a lab experiment. And that doesn't mean there's no place for like an ice cream, for example. Like last night I had a chicken burger for dinner from Hello Harry's in Leederville and it was amazing. I loved it. No. But it's like 85 to 90% of the time I'm like cooking my own meals, like getting steak, chicken, sweet potatoes, like food like that, eggs every day, like, and I feel so much better for it. And then I know when I do have a chicken burger, I do have an ice cream on a Saturday night with my girlfriend, it's like, I've earned it. Like I can enjoy it because I know that I'm not doing it 3 meals a day having crap in my system, and then I can like, and it won't tank my overall health. And it's like, I feel like so many people caught in this vicious loop of not only constantly eating things they think are healthy, but they're not, with then sleep deprivation or not prioritizing sleep because they're up late on their screen or whatever. And then they're not active as well. And it's just like people today are like shooting themselves in the foot when it's like sleep, diet, and exercise, which is where I started with this topic. It's like a no-brainer, but people don't even prioritize it and their health could be 10 times better instead of like going to a doctor and be like, oh, what medications can you prescribe me for all these problems? Like I'm no problem with all that. But it's like if you're not addressing your sleep, diet, and exercise as well, you're literally setting yourself up for failure.
Oh, man. And it's like there's simple things. Doesn't mean they're easy. And I think society today is like, it's all designed around, you know, big corporations making money, right? And big companies making money, and how they make money off us using their products. And the more addictive they can make their products, the more we're going to use them. And the more we consume, the more money they make, and all that vicious circle and stuff. So yeah, whether that's attention on screens, whether that's highly processed foods, or anything else that like, yeah, is sort of being sold to you. It's like there is, you know, the society we're living in these days doesn't really promote healthy living. It doesn't. And especially like what I mentioned, slowing down before, like for your mental health, it's like, yeah, we're definitely not in that. So we're not quite in that. That's not really prioritized, is it?
Yeah. Oh, this is like not as relevant, but I saw it the other day and it was just like eye-opening. And it's just like a stat, like from a Instagram reel or something. And I hate Instagram, but like I was doom scrolling after posting something on the pod. I got there and I was there, but it was like baby feed companies in the US lobbying the government to have less pay on maternity leave so that, and it was something to do with that, so that then they would make more money through baby feed products because the mothers wouldn't be able to take the time off work to actually breastfeed their kids. And it was that whole loop and the big corporations lobbying the government so that less maternity leave. And it's like, you see stuff like that and you're just like, well, then how far like is that going to affect things like your day-to-day sleep, exercise and diet, and how many other things are companies doing like that? And it just gets you thinking. And it's like, obviously a lot of it would be down the conspiracy theory route, but a lot of it actually is true, which is why there are so many conspiracy theories. Like for every 10 conspiracy theories, I bet you 1 or 2 of them are actually true, which is the problem. So it's like, how do you even address that? Especially like as a holistic men's health, is it just men's or is it women as well?
I've worked with men and women, but I'm definitely channeling more towards men these days, and I'm sure we can come across why that is. But yeah.
So like, how do you like address that with your clients then?
Yeah, I think it was in terms of what's put there for society,
and all the noise and how to like decipher from all the noise what's actually important.
Yeah. Well, I guess it comes down to like meeting them where they're at first and foremost, like understanding where they're at, and there's a big understanding process in that at the start. And then it's just about keeping it as simple as possible. It's like the suggestions that first come up are super simple. It's like, can you, drink 2 liters of water a day? Like, how do you do that? Okay, have your water bottle around all the time. Can you eat an apple a day? Are we eating high quality protein? They're like 3 simple tips. Like, okay, you're like 80 kilogram male. Okay, you want to be hitting 160 grams of protein per day. What does that look like in your diet? They're 3 things that's like the super basics that like start there, And if we hit those, we do it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, then we can think about the other stuff, And I love the idea of the sleep tracking and things like that as well.
Like a Whoop or just a Garmin or
just something to track. I don't really. The devices, again, it's getting devices in the bedroom isn't really not those sort of devices, but it's sort of it's a tricky one. But yeah, I mean, when you have good night's sleep and stuff, and tracking that in some way. But yeah, I just think it's about keeping it super simple with the guides, because there is, as you say, so much noise out there, and being really selective as to what you take on. But your caffeine tip's another good one. It can be like
wait 90 minutes in the morning before you take your first coffee.
Mate. Or like, not after 2 p.m. and things like that. They're like, you can do. Like, it's super easy to be able to do, or simple.
It's the concept of also like, as you said, simple. So it's not getting them to do 100 things at once, but like a couple of things, build that base, then go to the next thing, go to the next thing. And I find whenever I take on a new challenge or a bunch of new stuff, if I try to do it all at once, it's that concept of essentialism. I'm spreading myself so thin in so many different areas that I'm just setting myself up to fail. But if I focus on one, channel it, get it on lock, then I can move on to the next one and then not worry about falling away on the one I've just built. And it's like that. It's like habit stacking. It's concepts like that.
Yeah,
and it's just
mate, that's literally where my brain went to. Yeah, for sure. What's that book called? Yeah, Habit Stacking.
Atomic Habits, James Cleary. Yeah. Great book.
I read it recently. Yeah, for sure, man. It all comes down to habits. Once you've got, what's it take, 30 odd days or something to build a habit. Once you've got that in lock, then the next one.
The thing about habits is it's not actually time, it's repetition. So it's like, and I know like 30 days, like that's 30 repetitions to do it, but it's like you could be doing it multiple times a day, whatever you're trying to build on, and you'll do it that much faster. So like the concept of like habits being repetition, not time, is like another thing that people don't realize. And it's like just that alone, then you can realize, oh, okay, well, if it's repetition, I can just like literally get onto it and not have to wait and really like build that habit quicker. In terms of clients and like people coming in with rogue misinformation or random stuff? Have you had any people tell you like anything that's like they think's healthy and you're just like, well, that's just horseshit? Any common stigmas out there that clients are always saying, oh, I should be doing this, and you're like, nah?
Oh mate, there's always funny stuff around like
Any rogue ones out there?
just thinking like a lot of it's around like thinking natural foods are unhealthy, as you sort of touched on before. It's like eggs and stuff. Like, oh, can I have eggs? And I'm like, yes, you can have eggs.
Superfood.
Yeah, and it's funny things like that come up every now and then. I'm like, oh, the misinformation that's out there, and through socials or whatever,
Sugar versus fat
is like, yeah, well, yeah, demonizing food I think is common, and like I don't think you want to demonize food, but it's also understanding like, yeah, there's foods you want to eat more often than others. Like you'd have to, if you don't think that, then it's, you might not be in the right types of foods. But yeah, demonizing food's not that great mentally.
Yeah.
I don't think.
You got to have a healthy relationship with your eating.
And also understanding your body, and how foods impact your body. Some people oats are amazing. Some people oats make them feel bloated and cause weight gain and things like that. And it's like understanding, it's all an experiment. So it's all you understanding how your body interprets that food.
Do you know what I recently got onto is chia seeds, like soaked in Greek yogurt overnight with a couple other stuff. And there's some blueberries, banana in there. It's like breakfast. It's just like consistently having that and what that's done for my gut, and just like getting my bowel movements working, or just like giving me energy throughout the day, or like getting in a good carb earlier in the day. It's just like game changer. And like I've only been doing that for probably like 3-4 months, and it's like I can't see myself now not having that every morning for breakfast, whereas I've gone my whole life without that before. I don't know, I find that fascinating, that concept of like how you could like realize something and realize it's so important to the point that now you couldn't see yourself not doing it, but you've been living your life 95% of the time without it in the first place. And it's like, well, then how many things are there going to be like that you just need to like find out? And that's what you're saying. It's experimenting with your own body, I guess.
Yeah, spot on, man. It's a great example. And yeah, I think it's like the intention around food. Like, why do you eat? Understanding that, because like, and it's like going, I'm trying to control how to like, if you control what you put in your body, that is huge. Because like, if you go back to evolutionary times, it's like we are designed to like crave sugar, fats, what's another? Sugar, fats,
Carbs.
Yeah, and carbs and that sort of thing, right? And we're like, and that's like, if we have those in abundance now. So like, it's so easy just to, overconsume those things.
Because it's like you do it for the winter for hibernation almost, to like stock up. And now it's like you're in a constant hibernating, fueling situation. That's where like the obesity crisis comes in. Things like that.
Yeah,
it's just like,
absolutely, man. And like, yeah. And it's hard because it's so abundant and it's blasted everywhere, and all the media and stuff around all the unhealthy foods and bad foods and whatever. And
you'll see 100 ads for Hungry Jacks and not one for a grass-fed steak.
Yeah.
It's like,
so it is very much like
commercialized, I guess.
Yeah, it's very much being really mindful about what you buy into and what you see and stuff.
How do you advise your clients like where to look?
Yeah, just don't believe it all when you see stuff around. Like use your own brain and be discerning with it all. But where to look?
Any points of reference?
Well, it's just eat natural. Like if it came from the earth, it's probably pretty good.
Just less ingredients, the better.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Again, it's like natural over processed is like the simple approach. And yeah, as you touch on, it's like one ingredient's awesome, Yeah, great question, man.
Just simple things like getting your diet in order and how good that is for your life and how much of a no-brainer that is to anyone. Like you go to someone on the street and you go, oh, do you need better sleep? I bet everyone's going to say yep. And it's like, all right, well then you got to do this to fix it. And they go, oh, too hard. So it's like, yeah, I don't know.
They are the big rocks, as you mentioned. They are the big rocks we talked about here.
Yeah.
Exercise, sleep, diet, stress management. They're the main things. if as you say, if you can get on top of those, and then you're looking pretty good.
Why are you moving towards men's health?
Why I'm moving towards men's health? I think through my experiences last year, where I went through a relationship breakup, and that led to me going through this like 3 to 4 month period of deep depression. And the question was, do I want to keep doing this living thing, right? And that's like a very hard question, particularly at 28. Like that's if that's a question, there's like working through that is challenging. So, but in that period, I really found that like I was just so disconnected with other people and like close people. I didn't feel like I had any intimate people. And I think my clients got me through that period. If anyone listened to this, thank you very much. Like my sessions became like psychology sessions, and we were just like, which it was really, really lucky to have the clients I had at that time. But I just felt this disconnect and this deep loneliness. And I remember I read a book about the loneliness epidemic and stuff. And that it really was up to me to like understand what was going on emotionally and then build those connections with other people that I hadn't been taught how important things like male connection, with your male friends. I hadn't been taught how important that was. But when I have connected with men's groups, like there's ones called Project Fellas, and then what are the other ones? Like Crucible Project, which is more like a Christian-based one, or there's Cold Nips and things like that. But these men's groups, I just found it so inspiring to connect with other men and be vulnerable with each other. Because when you do, you find out that we all have very similar challenges. And the amount of people that whenever I mention this depression period, I can tell that they're like, yeah, I've been through a similar thing, And I think for men, it's really important to understand that connection is so important. And I've also gleaned now that like when we feel that disconnect as men, we're then much more likely to do, for like a bit of a word, dumb shit to like try and get that connection, and do unhealthy things. Maybe that's like sleep with someone you shouldn't, or try to find it in that like with physical connection that might not be.
It's the top hand in the gap and not the bottom.
Yeah.
It's like who you are on the outside that's not really you, and you're feeding into that, and it's making the gap bigger from who you truly are deep down. Is that a good way to look at it?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's like, because once you have those connections with, say, other men in your life, you then, and hopefully there's like the healthy masculine side of things, where they use that respect and have strong values, then it's like you definitely like you feel connected, and you're not trying to search for those connections elsewhere, in unhealthy ways potentially. So I think just going through that whole period of depression and working my way out of it, where I didn't know I was going to get out of it. It was a very tough time. But then working myself out of it through just finding healthy connections, particularly with other men, to understand that we all go through these periods. And I just think, and I also found out over the last couple of years that how do I want to phrase this? The destruction that a disconnected man can create, and the real just awful things that men can do to women in particular when they don't have, when I feel they don't have the connection, or they
Feel isolated and alone.
Yeah, and they can really act out in very bad ways. And just hearing stories from women about that, I'm like, I want to be a part of the solution to that, where I want to be that healthy, masculine
Role model.
yeah, to men and younger men and all that. So yeah, it's definitely. I'm still trying to figure out how to go, like how that looks and how to go about it. But yeah, that's sort of the intention that I'm putting out there at the moment.
Yeah, cool. How do you even start with that? I guess because I'm sorry to hear that you went through that. I'm glad you're coming out on the other side, but it's like,
Oh mate, I'll phrase this well. One of the greatest periods of my life, looking back on it, because I learnt to give less fucks about what other people think.
yeah, right. Yeah. Was there just like a turning point like that, or that was a gradual thing?
It was a gradual thing. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but once you go to that depth of despair and you have to look within and go, okay, do I want to keep living? And when you get through that, you're like, oh, I don't give a shit about what other people think. And it empowered me to then take on more risks in my life and, do what I actually want to do and
Be
all
the
those,
bottom hand.
mate, as you're talking about, come closer to who I authentically am, because I'm far less worried about others' criticism that has sort of held me back for long periods.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, my question kind of is like, where do you start when you're at that rock bottom? Like you talked about like the relationships and the connections with other like masculine like figures and male role models or like whatever, but how do you even get there? Like where do you start to find them? Like what was your process to kind of getting yourself out of that trench?
Yeah, I think for me, it was just, acknowledging where I'm at and talking to people. Just being able to talk to people and be like, the amount of people that I talked to and was like, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I'm going through. And they'd be like, oh no, you're okay, you're fine. But like underneath, there's like these deeper challenges that you're going through. And it's a really challenging one because like other people want to like help you out and like pluck you out of it, family, friends, partners, but they can't because that's like you've got to go through that journey. Looking back on it, I had to go through that, to get to where I am. So, but where do you start? Yeah, I think you just start by acknowledging where you're at and those feelings and being like, yeah, this is a fucking tough time, and it might be like the depressions or the anxiety or whatever's leading to poor sleep. And it's like, and these things are like compounding on top of each other. So it's just small steps. It's very small steps. And, tying it in with consistency. It's those small steps of like, doing, and I think, what did I start with? I started by doing things I wanted to do every day and just doing things I enjoy, whether that was like exercising, going to the beach, reading, just doing things I enjoyed to remind myself. Because when you're sort of, from my experience in that depressive state, you definitely, like that feeling of enjoyment disappears. So when you aren't feeling that anymore, fuck, that's hard, man. That's like, you're like, shit, things that you usually would enjoy aren't there anymore. And that's a very hard place to be. So just doing things that you have enjoyed, I guess. And and then just connecting with the people in your life, like being upfront about where you're at. Things even like journaling and talking to yourself. Yeah, there's lots of different things you can do to like start to move the needle in the right direction. But I think they're the two things that I would recommend for anyone is like do things you enjoy, connect with the people in your life, and be open and honest about where you're at.
Yeah, okay. Damn. That's actually...
I didn't know we we're going
to... No, it's good. It's good. It's very valuable information.
Because you're 22. Have you experienced...
hardship?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's stuff I would talk about openly on the podcast at this point in my life, but there's a few things that I've been through that are pretty not easy to go through that a lot of people my age probably wouldn't have gone through. One that I could probably openly talk about, and there's other stuff that maybe one day I'd talk about when I'm a bit more comfortable with it. But kind of my dad cheating on my mum and then now he lives with her, and found out about that on the first day of year 12.
Wow.
And I was just like, and I was really, really close with my dad at the time, like probably like my best mate. And then it's like, I don't know, that just like you're looking at someone and you look up to them, and then like, I don't know. And I don't, probably won't even watch this, but it's just like the person that you like love most and look up to the most. And then all of a sudden you realize that they're kind of like not who you thought they were in a negative way. And then that was pretty tough. And then, but I played a lot of sport growing up. I used to do a lot of like water polo at a high level. And then I had really good male role model coaches, or maybe one or two from that. So I had good male role models in my life to lean on. And then my other two brothers probably didn't have that structure of that in their lives. And I saw them at the same age as me kind of struggle a lot more with it than I did. And yes, I struggled, and it's relative, but it's like I found the male role models in my life really helped get me through that. And then it's like at the same time, you can have positive male role models, but then you can also have male role models where you look at what they're doing and you role model as in like you now know what not to do. So it's like, for me, I would never cheat, like, and I would never want to do that in a relationship, and I would never like want to raise a family with kids and then like not be there. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'd say that was probably pretty rough, and just getting through that. And then like even to start with, like at first I didn't really understand it. Like it took a few years for me to really like gain perspective on the whole situation and really understand where my priorities and like what I placed as important and what I like, how I felt about it. It took years for me to like come to that. And that was 4 years ago. And I'm still kind of like, I've got a pretty good understanding of like what's going on and what was right and wrong and how I should be looking at it. But it's just like, I feel like it's still pretty fresh, as in like I'm still processing it in a way. Because like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like being 17, so 5 years, because it was your first week of year 12. So being 17 and having that happen, and like, I'll be honest, I had a really great childhood. Like I went to a private school, I lived in a nice house in City Beach, healthy family, got to play lots of sport, got to travel to Europe on all the summers for like the Oz team water polo stuff that I was doing at the time.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah, I know, great health, all of that. And then kind of like the period of 19 to even 21 with other stuff I've worked through recently. And it's just like, it's just been shit. Like, but as you were saying about your period, all of that stuff's made me who I am, and the takeaways I've gained from all of that stuff, I will now have for the rest of my life. And it's probably the best thing and the worst thing that's happened to me at the same time. So it's like, pick your poison. You can be negative about it, or you can be positive about it. And like, that's one of the biggest things for me when I've gone through stuff like that. It's just like, where you could just get upset about it and make everything worse, or you could just get to work and look at the things that you can control, how to look at it, what to take away from it, and just move forwards and like know that you've done everything in your like power or sphere of influence to kind of move on from it in a positive way. And I feel like for me, that's kind of been like the navigation of how I've steered my way through the challenges and hardships of my. And I know that probably other hard stuff will happen as I get older and stuff, but I know now I've got the tools and I know how to process and get through a lot of it. So yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I can't remember what the question was, but
have I been through hardships because I'm quite young?
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah, and I think there's always, and it's so much easier from an outside perspective. But yeah, there's always things to take from these things, right? These like hard things that happen that, you know, hurt, deeply hurt. There's always silver linings and things we take from them, especially like when we have perspective and we have like time to separate ourselves from that event. There's always messages like, you know, the universe is always working in our favor is a big philosophy that I like to, really reflect upon quite often. That no matter what happens, it's always working in your favor. You know, and that's much easier said than done. Like it's much easier to like say that than believe it at times, because shit fucking happens and it sucks.
But that's the thing, it's life and shit happens to everyone. You're not alone, as you were saying before.
Yeah, and mate, that was the big takeaways I got from connecting with those men's groups is that, we all have very similar challenges as men. And just being vulnerable in a space with other men is really powerful, I find. Really powerful.
Yeah, well, I mean, like for me, even in those years, because those are such pivotal years of like young adulthood, like young manhood, of like shaping up to be the person you're going to be, and having like a healthy male role model in that to kind of help you figure out what that is so important. And that's something I don't think my brother's got, and I really think is not been great for them. Like in an endearing way, like I wish they had it. And I was lucky enough to get it through sport. But if I didn't have that, where would I be? Like, I don't even think I'd be like doing a podcast right now, for example. I wouldn't have taken more risks, or like, I just don't know. Like everything was going great, and I hit this massive fork in the road, and then a few other things happened. Like get out of it. Now I'm on the other end. But like, if that stuff didn't happen, I don't know if I'd be on the other end like this. I'd be living a completely different life. So it's like, do I wish it happened? I don't know. Because it's kind of like yes, but no. Because obviously you don't want this type of stuff to have happened, but at the same time, the stuff you take away is the gold. So it's like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And what comes up for me actually is like, it's so awesome you had good male role models, and I've been lucky to have a few and ongoing. Definitely sounds like you were a lot closer to your dad before the incident, at least, than maybe I was. So I've sort of had to search elsewhere for other male role models. But I think, on the masculine sort of touch, I think masculinity is like demonized these days,
But the definitions are all wrong. People are demonizing something that's not masculinity. That's the problem.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
As in like the stuff that it's being demonized for aren't actual masculine traits. So it's like kind of like, well, it's just got a new meaning now, I guess.
Yeah. I think, you're talking about, the Andrew Tates of the world and stuff like that, where it's like, it seems very ego-based, and it's a very like domineering presence, when I think that's a big part of my intention of working with men and young men is like to be able to be the healthy role model, but also like, be like, this is what being masculine is about. It's about being respectful. It's about being playful. It's about being emotional and like being in touch with emotions. And it's also being a strong presence, and being that protector and provider that we can be. It's like, it's all those things. It's not like masculinity is like, no, you don't like talk about your feelings, you don't cry and stuff like that. It's all, that is complete rubbish. But it's also, being that strong presence for your partners and being, respectful, being really respectful in how you go about that. And like, I have a few people that I think about, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a healthy masculine man, rather than being like, like a submissive man, You have any thoughts on what it means to be a man? If that's the question, I guess.
I don't know. It's tough without making it a circular definition of saying like what a man should be. Like I almost just want to say like being a man is being like a good, true man, but it's like, well, you know what I mean? Circular definition. But I don't know. I think a role model for good, as in like having a good moral compass and like standing by that in terms of like, even if scrutinized and it's the right thing. And like when I mean like the actual right thing, not that toxic stuff, but like just being like, I don't know, being a good person, but then I can see how people are like, well, why is that mutually exclusive to men? So it's like, I really struggle to put a actual definition on it, but I would just say being a positive role model in society with good morals and being a good human being. But then it's like, well, that's not exclusive to men. So it's like, then I kind of struggle with a pure definition.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think it does come down to understanding, at least in my experience, understanding your core values and living by them, living authentically by them. Whatever they may be. I think that's really important to understand as a man.
Yeah. This is something I ask everyone that comes on the pod, and I think it'll be good, is tombstones. So everyone dies, everyone gets a tombstone, everyone has limited character space on the tombstone to put on a few words that they're remembered by. Like, what would you want on your tombstone?
Fuck, that's a good question.
Because at the end of the day, you can't have any fluff, no clever answers. It's just got to be a good statement.
I'm going to reflect on this a lot, actually, after this. But I think for me, it's just like, just loved deeply and, show the people in his life that I was able to love them and gave them my time and presence. Because, I think, and I mean, there's big studies on this and stuff, but like, our happiness is tied to the quality of our most intimate relationships. Not the quantity, the quality of our most intimate relationships. Yeah.
So that's why family's so important.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, family, friends, just whatever your tribe is, whoever your tribe is, giving them your best when you're with them, something like that. I'm going to reflect. I'll write that up, actually. What do I want on my tombstone? What about you?
Was a good person. I don't know, not clever.
Was a good person.
It's not clever. It's not like, it feels dumb, but at the same time, it's like that moral compass on the inside that just feels right. And like, even if that doesn't even make sense for a tombstone, like a lot of people are like, one of my favorite ones that two people have said now is he lived, as in like he fully lived his life, which means he wasn't living the what if or whatever. And a lot of people are like beloved mother, beloved father, like son, all that sort of stuff, like was a family man, things like that. But like for me, it's just like was a good person. Because at the end of the day, to me, that's like, I don't know, I feel like that's what living's all about. It's just like you be a good person, because otherwise, like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. And as I said, like a lot of people will try and come up with something really clever or really fancy, but it's just that thing that screams out at you straight away that might not make the most sense, but it's like your true self. It's that bottom half of the gap. So yeah, and then it's like, well then for me, it's addressing in my life kind of the top half of my gap that what everyone else sees is like, is that being a good person? And it's like, if it's not, then get rid of it. And for me, that's how I'm closing the gap. So yeah, I think that's my answer, I think.
Yeah.
I've said it before, so that is my answer. But like,
was a good person. I like the he lived or she lived one.
Yeah, well, I recently had on a guy who actually taught me in school, and in year 12, and he's had some weight problems and had a hospital scare last year. And in the last year, he's lost like 40 kilos. And he's like been on this massive journey and stuff. And his answer was, he fully lived. I want people to know that I gave it a crack, and that like, and then it'll make other people think, well, then am I fully living and stuff. That was the first time I got that answer. And I was just like, yeah. Yeah,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. He fully lived. Yeah, I'll have to reflect on that. What else? Make it. I like this the super one line simple thing.
It was just the limited character space.
He lived with amazing people or something. Because, man, I just always feel so grateful for the people in my life, and I think, I don't know what it says about me, but like, I always reflect and I'm always like, maybe it's a self-worth question, but I'm always like, how did I get such amazing people in my life? It's always, and that's an amazing, like, maybe not for my self-worth, but it's a cool thing to sort of reflect upon and be like, oh, these people are just like wonderful.
Well, you say you've gone through all this last year. Like, where are you at now? Are you happy now? Are you doing all right now?
I'm being challenged by life for sure. And going through that stress management and sleep and stuff as we talked about. I love this podcast. Is just having a chat with you today has been great to be like, yep, focus on that. Focus on that again. But yeah, being challenged by life, man. I think being away, I was in Vietnam for the last month or so.
Travel, not a holiday.
Yeah, travel, not a holiday. Yeah, there is a difference in my head. Not lounging by a beach for hours on end, that's for sure. More exploring culture, I guess, and
nice.
like getting out there and, renting a bike for 16 days and going, off grid. So that's the difference, I think. But yeah, man, no, I'm being challenged. There's a lot of balls coming back into life, where that's like work and uni and relationships and money and all these things, it's all like there's all these balls up in the air, and I'm like, and you just have to have faith that like it's gonna fall into place. I think that's where I'm at the moment. It's like just trying to relax into things, because I'm a stress head. I don't know why, but I'm it probably comes from the underlying anxiety that we talked about. But I can be a proper stress head when it comes to like assignments and things, and anything where like I feel, I don't know, I attach worth to it. Have you had this? Where like, especially one good example, and I didn't realize this came up recently, where like I felt like I was attaching worth to how much money I earned. Have you ever felt that?
No, for me, it's overthinking. I'm a serial overthinker, like in terms of structure and optimizing my life to get the most
To like
out
a minute,
of it.
minute by minute basis.
Oh, mate,
I've been there. We'll chat in a few years, and we'll see. We'll see where you like find some flow.
my problem is I can't outthink being an overthinker. So it's like, how do I address that and stop overthinking? Because I'm overthinking, like I'll find myself, as I was talking about before, overthinking the perfect morning routine I want to have in 5 years' time, to the point where I'll spend a whole night doing that and wasting that night when I could have been spending that time building that future. And it's like, well, then I'm just wasting. It's like the have do be versus be do have concept.
Explain that.
It's like,
quickly.
You think about what you want to have, and then you do stuff, and then you be that person, versus being the person you want to be, which then you do the things to be that person, and then you can finally have them. And you want to be in the being, not the thinking about having. So if you rewire your brain to be the person you want to be in the now, instead of thinking about who you want to, like what you want to have when you're older, and like how you want to be in the future, that's how you can have that superpower of kind of harnessing the present and just like tapping in on it and actually becoming that person. You're never going to become that person by thinking about what that person's going to have and all those nice things.
I love this. I love that.
It's not my own concept.
Yeah, I know. I've heard it before. But yeah, it's like, the being comes first. I really like that idea. Thanks for mentioning that. That's really good. Instead of the thinking.
And thinking of what you're going to have. Yeah. So I don't know. For me, I don't really stress about like money and stuff in that sense. I'm not saying I have lots of money, but it's just like, I don't know. I feel like I stress about how I'm going to like get everything done, or how I'm going to get the most out of something. But I know deep down, if I do the right things, as you're saying, and having faith that it's all going to work, I'm going to get everything I want. But it's like, I shouldn't be focusing on what I want in the future. I should just be focusing on right now. And that's my thing, is I'll overthink so much to the point where I can't be present anymore, because I'm constantly overthinking about shit that isn't in the right now. So for me, it's about harnessing that present. And it's easier said than done, as you were saying before about other stuff. Like, it sounds simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy. Simple sometimes is much harder. But like, if it was that easy, everyone would do it, and then there wouldn't be any problems in the world. That's just not how everything works.
And I think I'm speaking to myself as well when I say this. But yeah, if chronic overthinking's a thing, just what's helped me is, as we've touched on, right, meditation, journaling, those two things have been like instrumental, and the things I definitely I want to do consistently again every day. Because you'll find, because meditation isn't about like stop thinking, right? It's about like just observing your thoughts. So it's a very like just observing, and then, because then you could be like, we're all having thoughts all the time, but it's the ones you actually engage with.
And that's what meditation helps with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like being able to just observe thoughts and like allow them to like clouds in the sky, and they just go. And then the next thought comes, and then it's like, and you can be really selective with what you engage with.
Were you doing it much through that period last year?
Yeah.
And that helped a lot?
I was. It certainly made it clear about the challenges that I was facing. And just, being really, like, seeing the thoughts I was having, I was like, whoa, this is like scary. Some of these thoughts are like scary. Okay, I should do something about this, otherwise we can be just like unaware of the thoughts we have. Which isn't, I don't think, is a healthy place, but potentially. I don't know.
Yeah, that's just all food for thought, I guess, at the end of the day. What's coming up? Is there anything you want to talk about now? Is there anything you want to say to anyone listening in general? There's a few other things I want to pick your brain about. We're running out of time. I got another guest in like half an hour. So, because I wanted to ask about high rocks as well, because that looks sick.
Yeah.
I saw your post about high rocks.
Yeah. It is. That is coming up in a couple of weeks. I don't feel prepared. Training in Vietnam was definitely very challenging. So yeah, I'm a sweater. You a sweater? I'm a big sweater, and training in Vietnam was like hard. Mid-30s, extreme humidity, just like it was mental. But yeah, man, high rocks coming up here obviously in a couple of weeks. Don't feel prepared, but we'll get there. And it's just such a fun environment to go into if you have that playful mindset and you're just there to like give it your all and like test what you're capable of. It's like it's like a hard thing to do, and no matter what ability, it's a very inclusive sport. Which is really cool, but it's still very, very hard, whether you're like the best in your class or you're not,
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Have you ever dabbled?
No, not yet. One day. It's on my bucket list. Right now I'm just trying to run every day and gym 4 times a week and do that consistently. And then when I have more time, eventually I want to start doing things like boxing and stuff, get that in a couple of days a week. But yeah, just like one thing at a time, I guess, for me.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I've been having some IT band issues with my knee from overrunning. Like earlier this year, I just woke up on a Monday morning at 3:30 a.m. and did a marathon one morning, and now I've got all these problems with my knees. Like
just randomly, just like I sort of trained for it.
No, not really. I had a shoulder surgery last December for labral tear, and then I was on a bike for a month in January every day in the gym. That was like what I did every day, and then February and April, I like ran every day, and then like only like 3K runs or whatever. Then I did a 10K one week and I was like, oh, that felt pretty good. And then the next week on a Wednesday morning, I did a 20K and I was like, oh, that felt really good. I could probably do a marathon. So then the following Monday morning when I still hadn't fully recovered from the Wednesday half marathon that I'd never done, I just like had a bunch of gels and stuff and like had a couple steaks the night before, a few sweet potatoes, put all my shit at the bottom of a park and just did laps around the park. Did like a 4 hour 26 mara.
That's wicked, man.
Couldn't walk for a week. Strained my calf the next week when I started trying to run again, and now I've had IT band problems, but I'm getting back there. I really want to do like an ultra at some point as well. Like I've read like Goggins' book and stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's literally who came into my mind. I love Goggins.
I love that shit. I eat that shit up. But yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
It's definitely Goggins-esque of just like fuck it and just do it, just do the thing.
He's just returned.
His stories
He's just returned after a 5-year hiatus. He's just done the Bigfoot 200 mile like through mountains ultra marathon. He's got no cartilage in his knees, man. Like, see, his mind should be studied.
The power of the mind. Hey, it's like if you think you can or you think you can't, both are usually right. Yeah. I think I'd love to. Yeah. What's your thoughts on like developing self-belief? It's something I really struggle with,
I'll answer that with a question. Do you think that you become who you are more, or do you think you build who you are more? As in like, as you like do stuff in your life, are you becoming the person you always were, or are you building that new person? Because then depending on that answer will depend on if you've always had the self-belief or if you're building it.
So let me get this right. So you're either becoming
more of who you always were, like through everything you're doing, or you're building that person through what you're doing.
Oh, building is the first thing that comes to mind, I think.
Building self-belief is my answer.
Yeah. Building through action.
Yeah.
For sure, man. It's a challenging thing, isn't it? It's like confidence is an action, right?
It's momentum. You don't realize the momentum you're in until you're out of it. And it's like, but you don't want that to happen. So then it's really hard to self-reflect and like see how far you've come. Like for me, for example, I wouldn't say I'm a podcaster, but I am. You know what I mean? It's like if I got out of the momentum of the podcasting stuff and like missed a couple months, I'd be like, oh, I was a podcaster for a while, but right now when I'm in the trenches doing it, I'm not. You know what I mean? It's like that identity, self kind of like, at what point, and I think this is in Atomic Habits, at what point does a great tree become a great tree? You know what I mean? Like at what point does it finally reach like the size it is to be like, you know what, or was it always like, it's that sort of concept. And it's like, at what point is your like, are you someone with self-belief that's like monumental to the point where you know who you are? It's like, did you always know, or are you building to like figure that out? So yeah, I don't know. I feel like self-belief is definitely something that is built as well. Like, and it's built with the proof of the win, the tangible physical wins you get along the way. So it's like, I did that marathon and it fucking sucked, but I did it. And then when I finished it, I was like, I know, I said I was going to do it and I did it. Builds my self-belief. So it's things like that.
Following through with your words, following through with actions.
And that's your relationship with yourself. Because if you can't even do what you say you want to do to yourself, well then what are you doing for other people? Like how can you be there for other people when you can't even like be good to yourself? Like, and this is Dr. Lloyd Evans' favorite saying, and I say this all the time, is like, be selfish to be selfless. Like be selfish to make you the best version of yourself so you can be selfless and giving that best version to everyone else. But yeah, so much food for thought today.
Mate, that's such a good reminder, hey. Gosh, we touched on a lot of topics. But yeah, it's such a good reminder to start with yourself, hey.
Yeah.
Start with yourself first, and yeah, the old thing, fill up your cup first. Otherwise, and then when that overflows, that's when you can give to others. Yeah, because I'm definitely like a people pleaser at like the core of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, so much food for thought.
Was there anything else you'd like to touch on, man?
Not that we have time for today, but I'm sure we'll do another one in the future. Where can everyone find you? What do you want anyone to know? Do you want to plug any socials or anything?
Yeah, if you want to reach out on DC Holistic Lifestyle Coaching on Instagram, I'm like Cam, where I'm not as consistent, nowhere near as consistent with posting things what I probably should be. But something to look forward to. So yeah, probably reach out there. Is probably the best place to get in touch if you want to chat about anything that we've gone through today, because yeah, I love chatting about all this stuff, health, fitness, philosophy, life philosophies, yeah, all that fun stuff. So yeah,
awesome. Well, thanks very much for your time. This has been great.
Thanks, Cam. It's been awesome, man. Thanks, brother.